So as they're driving, they hear some chatter on the radio about a woman who called into the police station regarding some strange lights in the sky near Akron. So one of them in the patrol car jokes it's probably a prank, while the other one states, well, maybe they're just seeing the planet Venus, which on this night is like super clear and bright. It's actually brighter than the North Star. So like, you know, they talked about it, they kind of laughed it off. They didn't give this another thought.
This is sounding familiar, but I feel like all cases like this
I
are
know.
like the exact same like start. It's wild.
Always the same. We ignore, the crazy person who called in about the lights. So as they're driving along, they notice an abandoned Ford vehicle. So they're like, well, we should check it out because like, what else are they doing in the middle of Ohio in the middle of the night? Spower, he gets out, he checks the driver's side, notices the vehicle is empty. Neff is waiting near the rear in case, you know, some sort of altercation breaks out. So Spower takes his flashlight and he's like looking in the car just to see if he can see, you know, anybody maybe sleeping in the back or like,
anything.
You know, Neff goes, wow, man, Venus is really bright tonight, kind of looking off.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah, that's when they both notice something a little bit strange about Venus way up there in space. Because Neff looks at it again and realizes that it just moved really quickly.
Yeah,
so he kind of brushes it off. Venus. You know, it's early in the morning. But then they both notice that Venus is getting larger and larger and closer.
Oh my god.
So yeah, now they're both just
something ain't
right about Venus. Maybe because it's not. So anyways, they're like totally focused on this now, right? And it's gotten so close that it's like coming just over the treetops as it moves from east to west.
What would you do?
I don't know. Like, because this is, you know, they're on a car right off the highway. They've seen this thing way off, and all of a sudden in moments, it's now like hovering close to them at 300 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
So both of them are trying to like squint and get their eyes to focus. It's giving off this really strong, like bluish white light. They said almost like kind of like an arc welder.
Okay.
And then there's like a spotlight underneath it that's illuminating the ground brighter than like any like moonlight would even be. So it's like this thing is bright. Okay. So they're still staring at it. They figure it's about 35 to 45 feet across, 15 to 25 feet tall, and it's making a low, steady humming noise, sort of like an electrical transformer.
I know we've talked about it so many times. I think like in Bat Squatch episode. No, you can't. I can't look up at something or look in a distance and be like, I think that's a 7 to 10 feet in 45 inches in diameter.
They do the best they can.
I know,
I will say in their case, like other people give descriptions and it matches almost perfectly.
Okay.
So, but they're doing their best to like.
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah,
if you were to see
hilarious.
A low flying plane, you would have no idea what the dimensions a guesstimate would be.
No, we would literally just do it in like comparison. Like that's as big as a Cybertruck. We wouldn't be giving it in feet and centimeters and shit. You know?
So it just blows my mind that all these people do this and all these like it's crazy.
So anyways, they're like staring at it. They're frozen in fear. And then thankfully their cop instincts kick in, mostly because the spotlight under this thing is now like coming right towards them. And they book it back to the cruiser. And they immediately start to remember the prank call from earlier, right? So
yeah, because they stopped to just look at the car that happened to be on the side. Okay, yeah, duh.
So it's now 5:07 when they call the radio operator, Robert Wilson, and Wilson takes note of Spower's report, and the directive comes through right from Wilson. He says, just go shoot it down. Thankfully, Sergeant Henry Schoenfeld, who is also at the station overhearing this, goes, hold on, we cannot shoot this down.
Worst directive.
So it's such 60s way of thinking. I know. He goes, it could be a weather balloon. He goes, can you guys just take some pictures of it? But they don't have a camera.
It could be in.
Yeah. Okay, so finally a direction comes through that makes any sort of sense. He says, okay, just keep the object in sight while we come up with a plan, basically. If you need to pursue it, pursue it.
So just follow this thing that we don't know what it is.
So Neff and Spar do just that.
Of.
Oh yeah. Not a moment after that directive comes through. This craft moves a bit east, a bit higher, and then starts to pick up speed and just starts flying. Okay. But It is going right over the highway that they just pulled off of. So Spauer is driving as fast as he can. Neff he's got his face like glued to the windshield to not lose sight of it. Okay. They're on the radio. They're starting to like try to give a better description. They say it's almost like egg shaped with a depression in the top portion of it with like an antenna coming out of there.
Okay.
And then below it, it looks conical, but it's really just a cone shaped light coming down. Okay. So they're saying that it's moving about 300 feet off the ground. And now this one I will give them credit for, that is moving at 85 miles an hour. And they know this because they are going 85 miles an hour to track it.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense because that's obvious.
Right. So this thing is still like, it's kind of darting left to right. It's flying down the road, but it's staying like directly over the highway. They said it felt almost as if like it wasn't trying to get away from them, but almost playing like cat and mouse. Like it
was kind of like messing with them.
Yeah, like it was totally playing with them.